Hi guys, welcome back to the Once You're In podcast. This is episode number 84, and next week you'll also have episode number 84 because we've messed up basically. Today is Sunday. It is 6:48 p.m. and we've just seen a horrendous football match between Manchester United and Liverpool. So we're not gonna make this a football podcast. We won't talk about it. We did get a couple of questions about it, so I mean we might talk about it a bit, but not properly. So basically, Thursday, so today's Sunday. On Thursday, we filmed the first episode in the new studio. So thank you for everybody who liked the post or saw the post.
We got loads of shares. We got like probably
shares.
20
Yeah,
or
thank you. Thank you
shares.
for the shares. I do appreciate it. So that will actually be on the 13th. That's going to come out on the 13th. So we needed another episode. So this is now basically. This will be live
Complete
tomorrow
filler.
morning. Huh?
This is complete filler. That's
this is we completely messed it up. But to be fair, it's because we need to have enough time because the podcast isn't just going to be edited on iMovie. Like it's going to be edited, clipped up. We're going to have reels made for it, like teaser reels throughout the week and things like that. And we will be doing an episode Mondays and Fridays. Thursday will be our filming day, and we'll have like a standard episode that we always do. But then we'll also be having like an episode where we chat about a certain topic or certain topics, or we have a guest or guests on.
Yes. So this is one of the last.
This is the last one here.
Yeah. But then you never know. Like you're going away. There might be times where we're away. Like if I'm competing, stuff like that. So there's probably going to be a few more where we're on this, but I doubt it. This is going to be like enjoy it, guys, because this is the last before the hashtag level up.
And this will be the last one on my YouTube.
Yes. Yeah. So check to be fair, we probably do need to make that.
I've made it.
Yeah. Have you made it? Okay, cool.
We need to
send me details so I can log in and hack it and stuff like that.
We need to sort out the logo and stuff first before we properly launch it.
Yeah, we do. So that'll be something. Sam's doing that, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Awesome. Right. So basically what we're doing in today's episode is we're just going to go through the questions because we'll actually explain how long, mate, did the setup process take of the studio the other day?
Well, we got there at just about quarter to 4 by the time we were all there because like I think it was about 3:30. I got there a bit later, and then I didn't get home until like gone 11 o'clock. Yeah, now it is like a 40-minute drive, and the motorway was closed, but it took us. The actual setup took us probably a good 3-4 hours, and then learning how to record with 2 mics took us like another hour. So we basically had to download GarageBand or GarageBand as it was called on.
How confusing was it?
It was weird. It wasn't the actual setup wasn't confusing, but it just wasn't working. But we finally got it to work. So yeah, hopefully the audio and the quality and everything will be good. The first episode, obviously, which will be next week, we are just getting used to the studio, getting settled in, sorting out the lighting and everything. So it's only going to get better.
Yeah, it's only going to continue to level up.
Hashtag level up. You have to say hashtag.
Hashtag level up. So yeah, it was a bit. I say a long day. It wasn't. It was a good day. It was a good day on Thursday, setting up the studio, and I was there today. I turned the light on, the neon light, and I was like, oh, it's quite cool. I've ruined it, mate. I know people already know we've got a neon light. I was going to say we have
ruined the neon light. Oh no,
ruined the neon light. So yeah, so basically we did an episode. We did like a pilot episode. So it was like an introduction to the podcast for people that listen to it every week and listen to us. Most of it we've already answered. Cheers, mate. I've got a Vimto. Have you got a Vimto?
No, it's a Copperberg dark fruit.
Oh, Copperberg dark fruit.
Sunday night, I have a pint, so
that makes sense. So yeah, it was basically a pilot episode of like how me and Finn got to where we were, what we do, how we met each other, and just a bit of an introduction to what the podcast is in case there's new people, but because of how it is, like it's like 20-30 minutes. So yeah, give that a watch. Like I said, new YouTube channel. So if you guys could make sure when we start posting that, any shares, all that sort of stuff, we appreciate.
We are doing a giveaway.
Yeah, we're also doing a giveaway. So exciting times, that's for sure. And then what we're gonna do in this episode is literally just go through the questions. So you got the questions up, mate, from Thursday?
I have, mate. Yes, have you?
Awesome. Yeah. So we'll go through them. I got asked a few things about the studio. I got asked studio tour, please, coming. We got a reel. We'll have a YouTube video. We obviously had some photos taken. Like we've got a good amount of content coming from that. I'm not sure what Pete's going to cook up when it comes to the actual video.
Let Let him
let
cook
him
though.
cook. Let him,
Let him
don't
cook,
we
yeah.
don't need to answer anything. We're just gonna let Pete cook.
Let him
So
cook.
we've got him pretty much videoing as like setting up the process of the studio, having a chat regarding where things could be, and in a sense showing how we kind of like set it up and any things that that went well and didn't go well. So yeah, that'll be that. Butcher's Wet Dream says, "Fight to the death, please." Finn, me and you fight to the
That's
death.
it.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
it.
think he really wants that, does he? Does he want one of us to die?
I don't know. I don't know. I reckon
If he does, then
fight,
that's not very
fight.
nice.
I don't think I'd be very good in a fight to the death. I think I'd be good at like I wouldn't want to kill you. I'd be like, I don't really
I
fancy
know. I
killing
think I could get all the way there to like really close, but then I'd be like,
you.
it's almost like what we spoke about before. Would you want 90% with the male or then 10% with the female? I feel like I could get all the
No,
way there, but that
all the way
last
there,
six,
you
I
couldn't finish.
couldn't do it.
You couldn't finish.
I couldn't finish. No, not if it was a male.
No, if it's a female, you'd be able
Yeah,
to
I could
finish.
finish. Yeah,
So you'd want 90% with the male.
yeah, I could do 90% male. Yeah,
Yeah, fair enough. I'll have 90 and 0, just I'll have the male. That'd be fine with me.
yeah. You don't want the female.
No, right. So actually a proper question, mate. I actually said this because I got this question through when we were driving back because Thursday was an absolute nightmare driving back from Somerset, 5 hours. And I was reading through the questions because me and Sinai were sat in the car for 5 hours. And one of them was never train upper again or never train lower again, not with men's physique in mind, but just in general. So you can only train lower, or you can only train upper. Again, I don't actually care about men's physique, like in the sense of that is not going to impact my decision. What would you choose, upper or lower, mate?
I would choose never train lower again, but I would become a cyclist
You know what? Sanaya said actually the same sort of thing.
because I
I
feel
said,
like it's very
oh,
hard to have a. It's not well. It's not. I don't know. I think it's probably harder to have a good upper body without training, whereas you could probably have a decent lower body through like just being a good cyclist. You know
mate,
what I mean?
if you're 45 and you've been active for like 20 of your years of life, and like you do some just general house chores, you'll have wicked calves, and you'll probably have
Yeah,
like
but if
healed
you
hamstrings. You know, like you'll have
live
dug out
like
hamstrings.
if you live somewhere that's got a lot of hills and you've got a bike or you go on walks or runs, like you're sorted.
Yeah, I personally say, and this is again, Sanaya said the same, but I actually said if I'm just talking about strict enjoyment and not looking at it from like a bodybuilding standpoint, lower, 100%. Like
Yeah,
if
but
I'm
I
just
think
talking
you'd
about
get
session,
bored of either.
yeah, you would. But I think lower would be I'd prefer to train twice per week and just go in and bury myself on because you couldn't take bodybuilding that serious. So I'd be like, right, I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna have like 3 all-out sets on a hack squat and leg press today, like one of each or two of each, and I'm just gonna go right. Then I'm gonna do a few leg extensions and get a bit of a pump. I'd rather do 2 of them sessions a week than go in and thinking, oh, well, I'm doing push and I'm doing pull. I prefer just to bury myself on some
Yeah.
lower sessions.
Yeah,
You
from
know?
an enjoyment standpoint, but if it was
Yeah.
to try and still have a decent physique, then I would say that.
Yeah. No. Okay. So that's Charlie's question answered. That should be a poll that we should do, like upper or lower. What do you reckon?
We can do a poll on Spotify if you want. We
Oh,
did a poll last week. It was
did we?
about whether or not you prefer to train with reps in reserve.
Okay, fair enough. Well, you find that, mate, and I'll answer another one. If you had to do, if you had to just swap bodies for a day, what are you doing? I said to Sanaya, fucking Shannon. Sorry.
Is that right there?
I'm taking the piss. I said that as like, and I was like,
You not hear
oh,
that?
yeah,
The question was, if you could swap bodies for a day, what are you doing? And Reece said, "Fucking Shannon."
just joking, but that was being serious.
I'm just joking. He's
No,
just
no,
joking.
no. And then I was like,
Why are you joking? Why won't you fuck my girlfriend? What's wrong with her?
oh, sorry. What's wrong with her, bro?
Why wouldn't you? Come around and do it now. Let me
Do
watch.
it now.
I want to
Do
be
it now in front of me. Do it now in front of me. Yeah.
What would I do?
See what it's like to have small balls.
Nah, I'd probably experience pinning myself, so I know what the experience is like, and go, "Oh my god!" Oh, and then I'd call my coach and say, "Mate, I've pinned myself,
Oh wow.
passed out." Shout out to Conran. I love you, Conran. To be fair, that's like I'm not even just saying that's Conran. The amount of people that are like after the first time they pass out, it seems to be everybody. What would I do?
Deadlift like six plates.
Probably ask your mum to buy something for me because that's all she does for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd feel a bit taller.
Mate, oh yeah, because I'm the tall one and you're the small one.
I am so small apparently. Yeah.
Really
Really tall.
Recent that really, really tall one and that really, really small one. About 2 inches of height difference.
Do you want to see? Should we see the votes?
Yeah, what was it?
Well,
I'm
I
gonna
don't
guess
know yet.
people that listen.
I don't know
Oh,
yet. I have to click it.
okay. What we guessing? Like can we guess percentage wise? Are you gonna give us a
I'm gonna
percent?
I'm gonna guess it's about 80 to 90% train to failure.
So yeah, 95%, I
Yeah,
reckon.
I think it'd be high. 92%.
Oh,
Can't really see that.
92%. Trying to say how
Who
many
knows,
total
who
votes?
knows 8% of pussies listening to the podcast?
Yeah, fucking stop listening. We do not want you guys. Reps in reserve. Oh God.
You can't
No.
train reps in reserve. We told you.
There was a
It's
physique
wrong.
collective seminar yesterday. Like, why are you even listening to that? Like when we're
Yeah,
filming this, you should be listening to that and going
yeah.
to that, not listen to us.
It's
God,
wrong.
we're just meatheads who want to throw weight around and don't even
I'm
care about fatigue.
not a meathead. I feel like
Um,
we're the opposite of meatheads.
yeah, yeah, we
Well,
are.
uh,
We're in the middle. Like we're in the middle of it. We're not either side. Like we're the kind of people that no one wants to claim. Just, those middle ground people.
we're sat on
And
the fence because we haven't got an opinion.
exactly, and we're shit podcast hosts. Best tips, mate, for peak week. This is actually
Am I not able to use any of my questions today? Or
okay,
what?
mate. Well, you're the one who's slacking, so you go for it. Come
No,
on.
I was looking at the poll.
Okay,
Right.
sound.
Will
Okay.
Razzo's put 4 things about the Blades, about Sheffield United. Then none
Who
of them are
cares?
questions. Yeah,
Move
no.
on. Move on. So,
Um, Charlie Simmons has asked best natty sups, ashwagandha, tonka ali, etc. Bullshit or worth it?
what about the basics, mate?
It's all about the basics.
What about the basics? You got your test, you got your D-ball.
Um,
um,
to be fair,
wait, what?
can I just say,
Yeah.
because this is it's quite not interesting, but it's relative. So when I was at the Taurus, the supplement store the other day, they were saying that like the amount of young lads they get that come in saying, "Oh, can I get testosterone or can I get Tonka Ali? Have you got this? Have you got that?" I saw it on TikTok, and one of the guys that runs it, I think he works there. He was saying like he's got like quite a lot of experience in more so sort of like pharmaceutical side of things. He's not like gym supplements like protein and creatine, etc. He's more like based on actual sort of health supplements. So like he tries to say to them like, you don't need it, like you really don't need it, and they're like 16-year-old lads coming in, but they still want it because they've seen someone on TikTok that they think looks good using it. So yeah, like I hadn't even heard of that Tonka Ali until like a few months back.
Yeah.
Like, I'd literally never heard of it. So I'm not saying that I would have heard of anything that's important, but like if I've not heard of it, or if somebody who's been into training for a while hasn't heard of it, it's probably not going to be anything that's really going to make much of a difference to your progress. The same with testosterone. Like it was so hyped for so long. Like all I saw for months online was testosterone. Like everyone was obsessed with it, and it was because more plates, more dates was selling it.
Yeah.
I think
The people that are pushing
Greg
it,
Doucette was
weirdly
selling
enough,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
weirdly enough,
strange.
have a link to it in the bio that they're getting commission from. And it's
And
like,
posting about it like all the time. So
yeah,
I think there's a bit of a hype. Like obviously, yeah, like if you want to do it, I don't think there's going to be any huge negatives to it apart from losing out on money.
yeah, because they are expensive.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And I think as well that it's young lads that are looking into it a lot of the time. It's very rarely an experienced lifter who's mid-20s, early 30s, who's got a good physique going, maybe I'll try testosterone. Like it's just not really happening. Because they've probably already understand that it's just the basics and I don't need to be worrying about that. Like for me, like again, literally when I have clients sign up, I go through their supplement guide and like I have literally 3 things in green. So I say these are 3 things that I want you to definitely get. Then I have things in orange that I'm like, I would like you to get them if you have the disposable income, which is literally 3 more things. And the rest is all like, you don't need it. It's all on there in case we might add it in, but you don't need it. So I literally have creatine. I have blue light blockers as a green thing, which again, you don't need. And I have salt.
yeah.
That's it. Like you could argue caffeine, you could argue whey protein, but I don't class like
You don't need, you don't
class
need
whey
like,
protein as a supplement anyway. But yeah, and then like, in orange I have vitamin D, D3 and K2, omegas, and vitamin C.
yeah. Yeah,
So
I am literally that. I say when I go onto it, I keep this brief. Like we'll initially go through it as quick as possible because I don't want you to even think and be over analyzing what supplements. Like
it's
if you're
literally like
missing,
the last thing I cover in a cell.
yeah, it's literally the last thing. And it's like if you're missing check-ins, if you're not training hard, if you're not eating your meals, if you're not checking in, like let's say with good detail, like you can take anything here, and like it's not going to make a massive difference. And like to Charlie, for example, I'd be saying to him like, we live in a world nowadays where it's all about what can you be doing and what can you be doing extra. And it's like, in the nicest way possible, Tim, and this isn't against him, but like, has he trained for 5 years, progressively overloading and just eating and progressively working up his food? I doubt it. And that's not to say like, okay, you can't supplement, but it's like, just do the basics. Don't worry about.
Yeah, and I think as well, like I think for me, that again, I always say, if you have the disposable income, go for it.
Go for it.
Like, if you've got enough money to really not miss out on, let's say 40, 50, 60 quid a month on the things that you're probably not sure on whether you need or not. And it could be a lot more than that as well, by the way. It could be 200, 300 quid a month, like easily. If you aren't going to miss out on that, then cool, go for it. But I would say most people, especially young lads, are going to miss out on that. So don't. You're better off spending it on food. You're better off spending it on a better gym membership. You know, these are people that are training out of a pure gym because it's cheap. It's 15 quid. But then they're spending 60 quid a month on testosterone or Tonka Ali. It's like, go to a better gym, like buy better quality food or more food. And
I think the only supplement I had in my teens was creatine and whey. That was it. Like I had like a white monster. I had like a white monster before leg days for caffeine, but I was like, most stims, I'm like, I don't really need it. Or I buy like C4 off Amazon for like 20 quid that would last me like 2 months because I just take it when I needed it. I used DAEs if I had some extra money or if I was dieting, but I was like, away from that, I was like, I'm eating enough food.
Yeah, to be fair, I forget like all the other ones that I do use.
Yeah, we use a lot. Yeah.
I wouldn't.
I use Support Max Neuro PM, which is like 30 quid a month.
Yeah.
And luckily I'd get that like for free. I don't need to buy that. And I would actually buy that. I've bought that on like constantly for the last like 2-3 years prior to me being sponsored. But if I wasn't, would I still use it? Yes. But is it needed? No. Like, I don't think I've ever told any client like, oh yeah, Support Max Neuro PM.
You need to get this.
Yeah. Like, I think it's a bit different if you're going down the enhanced side of things. So something like Strong Support Max.
You do need Support Max because that just sorts you out. Take as much as you want.
No, but in all seriousness, like I think taking like an on-cycle support sup and taking things to kind of ideally alleviate some of the stress that the peds are putting on your body kind of makes sense, especially upon blood work. But it's one of those sort of things where, like, especially from like a natural standpoint of coming into it, like just save your money. Like you'd be better off saving your money, or you're better off actually picking it and thinking, I'm actually requiring this. And like, for example, as Finn said, like Tonka Ali and testosterone, like, yeah, probably stay away unless you've got the money and you want to try.
Even then, I would still say like, you can't. It's like, yeah, cool, you've got the money, but you kind of just throwing your money away. Like, it's not really. It's really not going to be a game changer in terms of your level of progress versus like if you weren't taking them.
Yeah, 100%. Right. So Josh Wilford, classic. Classic in his name. Must be
classic. Yeah.
He actually, believe it or not, mate, it's quite funny. So he trains used to train at Ultraflex Leeds. And I used to like not look up to him because he was like an older dude. When I was like 19, he was a big dude. And the last time I saw him last year, it was almost not like roles reversed because it sounds so egotistical, but it was no. He came up to me, mate. I'd competed. He'd never competed. I've done, mate. I know I'm like from a bodybuilding standpoint, like he's never competed. He was a big dude, and I'm stronger than him. And he was like, coming up to me asking me tips, and I was like, this is a bit bizarre because when I was here 3-4 years ago, I was probably coming up to you asking for tips. And he's asked best tips for peak week because he's currently, I think, 3 and a bit weeks out. And I'm not too sure if he's going to listen to this. So, Josh, if you are listening to this, mate, hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully prep's going well. And we've always kind of reiterated the same thing when it comes to peak week. Firstly, as a coach. So I'd say listen to your coach, but don't fucking change everything. Don't be doing like, just if you look wicked a week out, you'll probably look wicked on stage. So that's almost what we'd say.
No, mate. Some people are just perfect.
Most
people, almost everybody that I hear from is perfect 10 minutes before, and then they just lose it on stage.
Okay,
it's a shame.
Yeah, it's such a shame.
I can't wait. Fair, we have covered this quite a lot, haven't we? Like
we had it a lot during our peaks for like when we had people on stage last year. Like I feel like in the summer last year, like every week we were answering this.
Yeah, I think people asked a lot more. I think even I've had clients like ask me quite a lot, like, "Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that," and like often it is the traditional, like, are we gonna cut water? Are we gonna do a fat load potentially? Like, are we gonna do this? Are we gonna do that? And it's like, it depends on the individual. Like, I use different approaches to peak week with every client last year, even at different shows as well. Like different approaches at different shows based on previous data that we had. Like, okay, this worked well for you last time, or this didn't work well for you last time. I think the most important thing is be lean enough, and if you're not lean enough, don't peak. Just keep getting leaner, or move your show back and keep getting leaner. And if you are lean enough, then get lean like early and then just reverse out gradually. Like, I think that's the best approach. I think it's the easiest approach. I think it causes the least amount of stress. So you're literally just gradually working your food up predominantly through carbohydrates
And dropping off
and
food, training,
a
dropping
little
off
bit more
stress,
fats.
training a bit better, feeling better. Like the mental shift of just saying, okay, cool, my food's being worked up and the work's done helps significantly.
It
You
does,
know,
but it depends on the person. Some people don't like that. Some people
some
want to feel
people,
like they're digging all the way until the shows. You know,
or the other
try and
way around, some people
explain it.
can't deal with it and they think, oh, I'm done. I can just eat shit and I can
Yeah,
get away with it. You know, and that's the
that's
last
why
thing.
it depends on the individual. Like
Yeah,
you've got to learn that client and sort of think. So, for example, like we could with some clients, we could say, okay, cool, the work's done, awesome. Like now it's just time to like land the plane, as that analogy is, like, and just reverse out, and they'll be like, oh, amazing, cool, like, and they'll nail everything. Other people will go, oh, the work's done, and then they'll slack on things like they'll go and overeat or they won't do the cardio, whatever it may be. So, yeah, it's even just like terminology, how you word things to certain clients. It's like you have got to be quite in tune and know that client quite well, I think, to be able to get the most out of them. But yeah, like to keep things really simple, like don't change anything really. Even like with water, I think people obsess over water. Like how much water should I drink on show day? And it's like there's no exact amount. Like drink enough to be hydrated. Don't drink loads so you're massively bloated on stage, but don't not drink. But then people go, but how much is that? And it's like, well, it's like depends on how much do you usually drink. Like, okay, I usually drink 8 liters a day. Okay, what time are you on stage? I'm on stage at midday. Okay, cool. Have minimum 2 liters, or have 500 ml with 2 meals. Have a liter in the morning so you're rehydrated, and then have 500 ml with the 2 meals or 3 meals that you're going to have before. Like, it's not going to be one rule fits all. You need exactly this amount, and you need exactly this amount. Like,
yeah, I had a combo with a guy last year. He
convo,
actually applied.
convo, yeah, not a conversation. You had a convo.
I had a combo. I had a combo. I had a brief consult call the day of his show. He applied actually before his prep, and he actually went coachless through the prep. So clearly, I just didn't make a good impression on the initial consult call. But he said to me, he was like, "Oh, I haven't really drank any water," and I was like, "Okay, when did you look your best?" I've said this on the podcast before. I said, "When did you look your best in the last week?" And he was like, "Probably post workout, maybe like a few days back." And I was like, "How much water did you drink at that point in the day?" And he was like, "Oh, maybe like a good 4 liters, 5 liters." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Put two and two together. Why aren't you drinking some water now? Like, if you're on stage in 2 hours, get some water and don't drink like an absolute idiot and get 6 liters of water and
But
bloat yourself."
also, like, even if you do drink like an absolute idiot,
it's not just going to sit on you. It's not going to go straight
if
through.
anything, like it has a diuretic effect. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
have you ever drank so much that you've gone like so much water that you've gone, oh, I'm so bloated? Like, only if you've gulped down a liter in 5 seconds, like, which you're not gonna do unless you're an idiot. Like, don't do that backstage and you'll be fine. But you could compete with 4, 5, 6 liters of water in you. Like, it depends on what time. If you're competing at like 9 a.m, I wouldn't say so. But if you're competing at like 6, 7 p.m, like men's physique guys, like especially in like the UK FBA shows, sometimes they're on to like 8, 9 p.m. If you're trying to limit yourself to like 500 ml of water, you'll look awful.
Yeah.
So like, just drink as normal.
Well, like imagine trying to hit a pose and like you're like cramping up and stuff like that, and you feel like you're dragging your feet all day. Yeah, it wouldn't be good. So yeah, that'd be that one, mate. Oh, that'd be that one for Josh. So yeah, don't change much. Get lean.
Right. Next one. This is from Aisha. Have you ever felt emotional / moody / horny after a high dose of pre-workout? And then she put serious question in brackets.
Horny.
I don't think I ever have after a high dose of pre-workout. I think I'm the opposite. I'm like, I just crash.
I walk into the gym and I'm just so ready. I'm just so ready for everything. No matter what's in front of me, whether it's weight or a female, just or
penetrate
male,
anything.
I'm just so ready. No, if I'm honest, I say a high dose pre. I haven't taken a high dose of stimulant since I was about a teen. Like
Depends
the
what
last
your class is high dose, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, but I haven't ever thought to myself, oh, like, you know, when people are like, I doubled up my scoop of pre. No, I haven't done that in years. Like, I haven't done that since I was like 17, 18. And I was probably like just thinking to myself, yeah, I'm gonna train fucking well, go double up my pre. No, I can't remember the last time I even thought to myself, I'm gonna overstim myself. And I don't think I've ever thought to myself in the gym, I'm overly horny. That's really haven't been the case, if I'm honest. That's a bit of a shame. Sorry, Aisha. Like, yeah.
I feel like if she's talking about directly after, then definitely not for any of them. I know it says emotional or moody. I still wouldn't say I'm emotional or moody. Like, but I get it when people like crash from like after if you've had, and this is too fair. I don't even have caffeine before I train at the minute, but like when I have, and even now, like when you have a very good session, like we're battered afterwards. I wouldn't say that's
Yeah.
emotional or moody, but it's just like
No.
drained. It's like a
Yeah,
drained
yeah.
feeling.
Like
But
afterwards, you almost have like a dull because you have
yeah,
such a high, you then come down back to reality. And I almost feel like because you've had that dopamine rush, when you come back down to your normal level, you just feel a little bit more meh.
yeah.
But
But I
that's
think when
like
you include caffeine within that,
it,
like
it's heightened, I
yeah,
believe. Like I
yeah,
think
it's
it's a bit more
excessive.
up and down. Like when you train and you're there's no stimulants, like you don't go as low afterwards if you're battered. But when you are, I feel like there's a fair few sessions where like I'm not like anxious, but I am anxious, but it's like just very meh. And that's usually kind of accentuated with caffeine supplementation prior. But again, I also think as well it's probably linked to fatigue because usually I feel like that when I'm a bit more tired and battered in general, and I'm probably taking some stimulants to kind of pump myself up in the gym so I have a bit more energy, but I'm almost riding that level of fatigue. So yeah, I think it's quite common. And I think like, but I wouldn't say it's directly like I'm emotional. I'm not going to break down in tears
I'd
after this
say it's
session.
more so just like in terms of in my opinion, it's a drained feeling. Like
Mm,
you feel like, oh, after a session, like even if you had a good session and you've not taken caffeine, you feel drained. But if you've had like a high dose of pre-workout, and you often will get that crash anyway, like even if you've had a good session, poor session, whatever, it is like it's just like that times 10. So like
yeah,
you're drained, but you're like, I literally don't want to do anything. I can barely move. Like I remember
yeah,
having that when we used to train and use that anomaly pre.
yeah.
And then I'd have PT clients in the evening, and I'd be like, "Oh, I'd come home after that session, I'd eat, and then I'd just like feel like I'd crashed, but then I had to go."
It's funny. I spoke about that to a client on Friday. Aaron, he listens to the podcast. So Aaron, shout out Aaron. He told me he went to a supplement store in Liverpool and he got a real strong pre and it fucked him up. And I was like, mate, I got this
Was it?
pre phenomenal, and it from Liverpool, and it ruined me. It ruined me. Like I was like, me and Finn took it. It just used to ruin us. We used to take like a heap scoop just 5 minutes before our hack squat top set, and then we'd be awful afterwards. But yeah, that was very very bad. Musa has asked, do both of you have clients competing this year? Excited, nervous, thoughts? Well, yeah, we do. I think we're same sort of thoughts, like eager, excited. There's a highs and lows that come from it, but it's real. Like, it's cool to think that like a couple of years back, if we were to say, oh yeah, we're getting people on stage, like, we'd be like, oh sick. Like, I used to look at people take photos, like post, like show, and be doing the classic point. And I'd be like, that's cool. Like, I'd like that. I'd like to be doing that. And that was when I was like a teen. Like, I'd like to be a coach. I'd like to be that guy competing or whatever. So, yeah, I'd say like mine and Finn's thoughts are pretty similar in the sense of like, there's obviously a level of excitement. Nervousness, not really, because we set up our clients in the same way as we'd set up ourselves and how we'd want to be. Like, there's obviously that level of anticipation and you never know what a prep's going to be. But I wouldn't say we're like sat there thinking, oh my God, when like, for example, Moose is checking in tomorrow. He's going to be starting prep soon, and he's not checking, and I'm going, God, I really hope he's had a good week. Oh, I'm so
Yeah,
with this check-in. It's like a level of eagerness, but at the end of the day, me and Finn can only tell the client what to do. So it's more so dependent on like, we'll provide the best framework, and ideally the way me and Finn coach, we build that relationship prior with the individual. So it's a full trusting sort of engagement in the prep. And therefore, hopefully that leads to really good results. But every single prep client will have days where they feel on top of the world. They'll have days where they feel horrendous, like maybe not horrendous, but maybe a bit lower. And that's normal. And as a role of a coach, we almost have to kind of ride through those waves and step forward positively. So yeah, eager, excited, but then also not nervousness, but a level of like apprehension regarding the phase. Because it is big. It's not just a standard diet or,
yeah, but I think as well, like the more advanced you get, the more experience you get as a coach, the more it becomes the norm. So
yeah,
like thinking back to like my first couple of clients on stage, which was not last year, the year before,
yeah,
it was like I'd say I was definitely more nervous, and I was probably like not more excited, but I was more like, let's say, maybe a little bit more anxious around it in terms of like, am I making the right decisions? Is this going to be the best for the client? Like, because you're going to question things when it's your first time doing it. Like, I
mm,
think it's normal. I wouldn't expect as a coach to be like, if the first time you get someone on stage, you're not going to be confident in every single decision that you make because you haven't had the experience in doing it. Whereas now, like, I'm a lot more confident in every single decision that I'd make to be like, yeah, no, this is what we're going to do. And then if a client was to question it, I'd be like, well, this is why I want to do this because of this, and this that's happened in the past. And that's
yeah,
why we should do this. Like the same with the pre-prep diet. Like Alex is a good example. So like I explained to him when he signed up, I was like, we're going to do a pre-prep diet, and he didn't really want to do it. I think he was a bit like apprehensive, and then I sort of explained it, and now he's like, mate, fucking hell, thank God we did that, because there's no chance I'd have been ready. Like there's no chance I'd have been able to. I'd have had to start prep like ages before now, and I still don't think I'd have been in shape, like based on how much I had to pull off. So I think the more advanced you get, the more experience you get, the more it becomes the norm. So the less nervous you feel, the less sort of, I wouldn't say excited, because it's, especially when it comes to the day, when you're there and your client's competing, it's always exciting. But like throughout the prep, I remember like thinking back to when Slater was competing, when Sonny was competing, like when they were both a week out, I was like excited every single day. I was like going and seeing them every day to pose. And I was like, it was like a big lead up to the show. Whereas now it's almost like, right, this is the norm. This is what we do. This is what we're going to make sure that everything's nailed. Let's just now go and get the show done and enjoy it. And like, you're going to be the best that you can be anyway. But the excitement is definitely there when you compete. Like, I think we both would probably say we get more excited like when we've got a client competing than when we were competing.
100%. Like for Matt's show, when they called him out as second, my heart was at like 180 beats per minute. Like when he was like top 2, I was like, oh my God, is he going to win?
Should have won that really as well.
Yeah, like it's one of them. Like you that eagerness. When it was myself up there and they were calling out the names, I was like, sound, do. Like there wasn't really that. Like when it was like top 2, I was like, is it me? I won. I was just like, okay, cool, let's see how it goes. Like that, literally, there wasn't any nerves, there wasn't any eagerness. It was just like judge's decision's already there. I don't care. But when I'm sat there and I'm almost like not having the power of being up there myself, it's a different sort of vibe. But it's a cool vibe. I
think as well, because you've
3 weeks today for
Eddie. Stole him,
yeah, 3 weeks today. So pretty eager and excited to see how he does.
I was gonna say, like, because you've seen that individual like throughout the whole. Well, obviously with Eddie you won't have, but like with most prep clients, you've seen them through the whole process of like, and like for a lot of clients as well, but way before that. Like for example, like Niall this year, like, I've coached Niall for ages. Like I've seen him massively improve his physique, and then we're gonna see him go through the whole prep process. Like I said to Niall, I was like, I'm gonna be like so excited. I was like, it's gonna be like like probably the proudest part of my coaching is like getting him like from where he started, the improvements he's made, getting him on stage. Like, and then I said after, I was like, no pressure. And he was like, he messaged me back after. He was like, oh, so like, thanks, mate. That's like a privilege. I was like,
when
after I said it, I was like,
when it's yourself doing it, you don't give yourself credit. Like,
yeah, no, you don't. It's just like this is the do, like the do. It's just the norm.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, right, you're one, mate.
Josh Croggan, how many beers do you each drink a week? I aim for 7.
Eat? How much did you say? Drink or eat? Sorry,
drink each week.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, what, you only have one a day, mate? Lightweight, sort out.
No, to be fair, I actually think Josh does have a good few pints a week. I seen him in Rotherham the other day, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I had two pints last night." But then he says they're non-alcoholic, so it's all right. It's just like water, apparently.
Yeah.
I was like, why don't you just drink water then?
Aisha asked me, is it normal to have the shits after a pre-workout? So some pre-workout. Aisha, what pre-workout are you having? No, it probably isn't normal, but then also caffeine can produce.
I would say it is probably pretty normal. Like
caffeine,
it's not ideal, but it's probably pretty normal.
Yeah, it can produce your ability to go to the toilet. So yeah, that would be one. Pick one golden era bodybuilding coach to be, bodybuilder to be your coach, and why. And don't be boring and say none, because you wouldn't be able to teach, you wouldn't be able to learn anything from them. Firstly, Jack, like we don't say that.
Jack,
like pick a bodybuilder, Jack Murphy. Pick an old school bodybuilder to be your coach, but we can't say none because our usual response is, "Oh, well, we wouldn't fucking learn anything." No, we probably would. We don't have that mentality, Jack. That's not how we think. Like it's more so the sense. The reason why we say the stuff we say is because we wouldn't take anything from it with how we are. It's not that we can't learn, mate. If we were like that, we would not be in the position we're in. Me and Finn can learn a hell of a lot. That's what I would never ever say I've learned everything. So
I'd say Ronnie.
Ronnie. I was gonna say John Meadows, but he's dead.
Nah, Ronnie, because Ronnie will give me the Yeah Buddy cream that he uses.
Yeah, what about form feedback? Yeah, buddy, form feedback.
Mate, he'd be happy with everything.
Yeah, every single set he'd be like, you could go heavier. But okay, fair enough.
No, in all seriousness, I like Milos. I like him on the podcasts.
It rambles too much for me. Like,
I know, but I do quite like it at times. I like his voice.
Yeah, but I just like it has rambles for me. I'd be like, look, mate, am I taking more Trent? Like, what am I doing?
Not. What am I doing?
Yeah. Yeah, what am I doing? I don't need to know about your upbringing and how you saw someone at the bus one day that then led to you getting on stage next to him back in the day. It's like, I don't care about that. Tell me if I'm taking more trend, please. But old school bodybuilder. I like Jay, but I know Jay's not a coach. I like Jay. Do really like Jay
He's
Cutler.
a good mate of ours as well, isn't he?
Yeah, good mate of the podcast, Yeah. Big J. Any like bodybuilder that was like pretty he's like
Dorian
who
would be pretty cool.
I don't too much of a meme. I don't think I'd be able to like take him serious
Yeah,
because
you wouldn't learn out from him, would you?
yeah, he's too much of a meme, unfortunately. I'm trying. There must be one bodybuilder who's like a pretty good coach who maybe wasn't the best of bodybuilders, but he was like decent.
Yeah, I think Meatloaf.
Yeah, but he rambles on, so I'm not going to say that. I'll have a think, Jack. I'll let you know. Your one, mate.
He won't pick anyone because he thinks he knows more than all of them.
Yeah, definitely.
'Cause he's got so much experience. Josh Croggan, score predictions for the weekend. It's happened, mate.
High scoring to Liverpool, I reckon.
Maybe, yeah. I'm expecting a big 7-0 loss, yeah.
Yeah, 7. Oh, mate. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I was going to go for like 2-0. You're saying 7-0. Wow,
Yeah.
fantastic prediction there. How do you determine how much calories to manipulate from a train day to a non-train day if you're in a gaining phase?
Base it on your lifestyle. I have some clients who their training day and their rest day could be very, very similar. I have some who it's like a discrepancy of over 1,000 based on their lifestyle. Maybe they have a very sedentary job and they can also train very, very hard. They're very strong. They maybe are really active on their training days and really inactive on their rest days based on their work, maybe shift patterns, things like that. So yeah, there's not like a exact amount that it needs to be. I'd say for most people, it's probably going to be anywhere between maybe 200 and 500 calories. I would say often with my clients that train hard and are quite strong, it's a bit more than that. But yeah, there's no exact amount. The best way to determine it would be if you're wanting to sort of have a steady rate of gain, let's say, it would be to assess your body weight and assess your nutrition and then be like, oh, I'm losing 2 pounds after a rest day, probably increase your rest day food. Or I'm gaining 5 pounds after a rest day, probably decrease your rest day food.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Right. Do you want to finish us on? I've got like one or two. Do you want to
wrap it up, mate? Wrap it up now because
Cool.
we've got a minute left.
Right. That's that. Bonus filler podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Because we're grinding on this Sunday evening, getting another rep. And yeah, that's that. We've got our first video being shot with Sam on Tuesday for me, and then I think we're getting one with Finn before you go away, aren't we?
Yeah.
Which will be pretty decent. And yeah, so YouTube videos and a level up coming to the podcast. Anyway, thanks as always, guys, for the support. Thanks for the story tags and all the shares, and we'll catch you guys later on.